Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Chrysalis Reads and welcome to my summer TBR video. I am basically going to be telling you about my reading goals and my TBR for the summer months. I'm completely ignoring the solstices and I'm just going from the start of June, June, July, August. That's what I'm considering as summer, even though I know technically we have to wait. Technically it's not, but I'm making my own rules here. I always like to start my TBR videos by talking about my previous TBR. Did I read it? Debatable. I had 8 books on my spring TBR and quite a lot of these I have included in vlogs. So any book that has a reading vlog, I will add a little link in the description if that's of interest to anyone. The first book from my spring TBR was a seasonal read and I read Chrysalis by Anna Metcalf and I loved this book and yes, so I read it and loved it. Rule 2 was a library book and I read Why Social Media is Ruining Your Life by Catherine Ormerod, and I liked the first half of this book and then it took a turn and just kind of talked about motherhood a bit more than I personally was interested in reading about. Rule 3 was a person on the cover. I read Why Solange Matters by Stephanie Phillips, and this book just felt like a love letter from the author to Solange Knowles. I don't know if I was meant to be reading it or if it was just meant to be Solange. It was okay, but it didn't hit as well as a lot of non-fiction. It was okay. Next was a NetGalley book and I read The Field Guide to Nepo Babies by Fran Hopfner. This was a fun time. It was fun, it was light, it was such a quick read. Next was a book that was planned for a vlog. Originally I was doing a TBR veteran vlog, which I ended up just not doing. And that was The Marvelous Mirza Girls by Sheba Karim. I have not read this book because I looked a little bit more into the book and I realised I just didn't fancy it. And I'm actually going to unhaul it because I'm not overly into reading young adult right now. It's not something that interests me. I'm not a young adult and that's okay. I do love some young adult books, but I was gonna unhaul this, but I waited until I was filming this so that I could apologise to the book, I'm sorry, and include it. Next was a favourite genre. I went with Sweat by Emma Healy. This was by a favourite genre, I went with sort of literary fiction revenge and I really, really enjoyed this. I then had a new to me author. I went with Psychoraag by Suhail Sadi. This book was fantastic. I highly recommend it. It is a chunkier book, but it is well worth it. I then had a standalone. Again, this is a book that was supposed to be in the vlog. I ended up not doing. The Prince of the Skies by Antonio Iturbe. And honestly, I just realised I have no desire to read this book. So I didn't read it. I didn't read it because I didn't want to. And I'm also unhauling this book because I just don't plan to read it. It's beautiful, but I'm not gonna. I don't wanna. And the last book on my spring TBR was a book with a number in the cover and I went with The Eighth Detective by Alex Pavesi. I have read this. I have already donated this to the charity shop. It was fine. It was fine. So I'm actually going to view this as a success because the 2 books that I ended up not reading, I can replace them in my mind with other books. And I feel let's not read books we don't want to read. So I'm taking it as a win. For summer, I do have some reading goals. I have my TBR game, I have Summerween, and I have my summer reading challenge for myself. So I'm going to start by telling you what my summer reading challenge is, and then we'll go on to the TBR. I am planning to do 75 booked. For anybody who doesn't know what this is, it sounds really fun to me, so maybe it sounds fun to you. This is sort of an amalgamation of 2 different challenges that I have seen online. So I've been inspired by Emily Page Books, who does 75 booked, but I have also been inspired to add little elements from Nerdy Nurse Reads from her 75 hard reading challenge. So for anyone who doesn't know, 75 hard is a mental toughness challenge. I have done it twice. I don't think I'm mentally tough, but I've done it twice and I viewed it more, it felt more like a fitness challenge, but I liked the routine of it. That's what appeals to me. So for 75 days, I am going to be doing 75 booked, which means I am going to have 2 45-minute reading sessions a day. The dream, right? One of these sessions cannot be in bed. I gotta get out of bed and read my book. I also would like one of my reading sessions to focus on a book that I have not obtained this year. The other one, I can read whatever I want, but I want to really focus on reading books that I have had for a while. I want to log all of my reading. I might do that like in a book. I might make reels or shorts. I don't know. I'm going to log it. I love a record. I want to do 45 minutes of daily movement. This is something I'm taking from 75 Hard, which had 2 45-minute daily workouts, and that might be too much to do some days, but a 45-minute workout or movement daily is something I think I can do, fit that in quite nicely to my life. I've been enjoying morning walks. The smugness gets you through till lunch, and don't think that 45 minutes a day is too much. Movement could just be stretching, but that's what I'm bringing. And I'm not going to be buying books during these 75 days, which I think is doable because I didn't buy any books at all this year until May. So I'm good. Let's get on to my TBR for summer. Rule number 1 is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's yellow. Please ignore my dry hand. A book that I have been putting off. Ew. I'm going to be honest and say I forgot what dice I was using. I could have used the wrong dice. And I maybe have because I have quite a lot of books. I used a D8 and I wonder if I previously used a D12. But we're going with D8. So what we have, it's set in stone. Rule number 1 is a book that I have been putting off for some time. I am going with The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. This is a book I bought ages ago because somebody I know read it and was like, it's delightful and it's strange. And I went, you said it was strange? I'm in. This is comprised of manuscripts written by Fernando Pessoa, and the book was not published during his lifetime. I don't know what the manuscripts are going to be about. I don't know if the book's going to be a bit bitty. All I know is that this takes place during 1930s Lisbon in Portugal, and I'm just really interested in reading something that is almost like a snapshot of a specific time in history in a specific place. I think it's going to be like a nice little study, and I don't know, I think it sounds like it's going to be utterly charming. I'm very excited, but I have been putting it off mainly because other than the person who recommended this to me, I don't know anyone who's read it, and I was a bit like, oh, why are people I know not reading the book? But then I have to remind myself that sometimes we all read different things, lest we forget. I read Psychoraag and I loved it, and it has 35 reviews. We're not all reading everything. There's simply not enough time. So I'm going to read this and I'm feeling hopeful. Rule number 2. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pink, which is a mood read. Next was a pink rule, and that was a mood read. I'm going to pick this at the time. I cannot pick a mood read in advance. I don't know what mood I'm going to be in. But as I am going to be recording my 75 booked, I'll probably mention it there. Rule number 3. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had this last time. Planned for a vlog. Next is planned for a vlog, and because Summerween is happening in summer, I'm going to put on Brainworms by Alison Rumfitt. The cover is horrific. No. I'm feeling brave. This is horror. I love horror, but I normally read horror that's not scary, really, and I'm not brave. So don't be thinking I'm brave reading horror going, I'm not getting scared. We're all scared of different things. I believe this includes a bit more body horror, which is something that gives me the book. So I'm gonna be brief. This focuses mainly on the relationship between two characters who are, it's not a good relationship. We all know this, like from the blurb, doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. And the blurb does say, shocking, grotesque, and downright filthy. Brainworms confronts the creeping reality of political terrorism while exploring the depths of love, pain, and identity. So I feel this book is going to be a Marmite book. I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. And we will find out together during Summerween.
Rule number 4 is a 3, 1, 2, 3, pink. A TBR Vet.
Pink, a TBR Vet. This book has been on my TBR since May 2020, 6 years, but I didn't get a copy of this book until last year. It is Bone China by Laura Purcell. I got this at my work. We have a little book swap area, like a gothic story, and I went, yeah, love it. And then went to add it on Goodreads and was like, I've already added it. So I've wanted to read this for a while, and then I forgot, then I remembered. This takes place in Cornwall and starts in a hospital for people with consumption, which I think is tuberculosis. Might be wrong, but I think I think consumption is tuberculosis. And something happens, and then 40 years later, somebody is returning to the scene of whatever happened. All I know is it is gothic and it's a little bit dark. But I'm thinking that's going to be good. I think I'm going to have a good time with it.
Rule number 5. 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Another pink. Reread a favourite.
Pink again, reread a favourite. I've been wanting to reread this book for a while now and the time has come. I'm going to reread The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I have a very nice copy. Took me forever to be able to get a copy of this book because I read it during lockdown. I read a library ebook and I fell in love with it, head over heels, my friends. And I could not, for life nor money, find a copy of the book that had this cover. I could find the sort of black cover with the ribbon. I did not want that. And I feel like when I've already read a book and I want my trophy copy, I'm much more willing to be patient and just wait. And I managed to get this. I got this from, I think, Blackwell's? No. It came from London anyway. That there, London. This is a very, very fun fantasy, but it is very book within a book within a book. We have a main character. He is a student and he finds this mysterious doorway. Through this doorway, there are all of these different stories happening. There are all of these weird and wonderful characters. Everything is linked to each other. And there are keys and bees everywhere and everything is linked. There's a lot of sort of like conspiracy theory stuff happening. It is a very, like, you need your full brain when you're reading it because you will get lost. But it is a gorgeous, gorgeous book, lyrical writing. And I just thought so fondly of it when I read it the first time. And I'm really just, I want to read it again. It was just a charming fantasy book with beautiful imagery and just endearing characters. There's a ball. If your book has a ball, as in like the dance kind of ball, I'm in. I want a ball. I want a gown. I want the drama. I also like that there's cats in the underground lair. I do not need cats to be the main part of a book, but if they feature in any way, shape or form, I am very much a fan.
Rule number 6. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 5-star prediction.
Next is a 5-star prediction. One of my newer books, Wee Pretty Pieces of Flesh by Colwyn Brown. This is a coming of age novel that takes place in Doncaster, which I think is in the north of England. And I am a sucker for anything kind of vaguely nostalgic. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this. And I've been really enjoying coming of age novels for the last good few years. I think I'm going to love this. And if I remember correctly, Doncaster is quite small. So I think there's going to be maybe a little bit of nostalgia, or at least a correlation to like my own life. Not that every book has to make me think of myself. That's weird. Doesn't need to. But it's always kind of nice when you read a coming of age novel and you're like, there are no unique experiences. I felt that way too. So I'm very excited about reading this. This was recommended to me on Instagram by a friend and she loved it. And I was like, you have wonderful taste, shiny hair. I accept this recommendation.
Rule number 7, a 1, a pink, again, a book over 500 pages.
I might regret adding this, but I'm doing it because if I don't add it, when am I going to read it? Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This book is over 1,000 pages long and that's why I've not read it till now, or till when I pick it up. This is by the author who wrote Piranesi, which I absolutely loved, but Piranesi was approximately a tenth of the size of this book. This takes place in 1806 during the Napoleonic War, and we have people on either side of the battle. I'm going to guess Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Norrell? Dunno. There is magic and some sort of relationship between these two men. Are they rivals? Are they lovers? We will find out. I assume that they may be both at some point. There's a lot of pages. A lot of story can happen. I have been putting this book off 100% because of the size. I find it intimidating, which is silly because a book is a book. Just read it. Just pick it up. It takes as long as it takes. But there's something about this particular book that has intimidated me, but I'm going to read it and we will find out if I like it. I really liked the writing of Piranesi. So I am looking forward to reading another book by Susanna Clarke and at the very least, letting a book come off of my TBR veteran list, saving it from me.
Rule number 8 is a 2, 1, 2, yellow. The title starts with the last letter of the previous pick.
Oh, a title that starts with the last letter of the previous pick. We just had Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, so L. I'm going with The Lost Library by Kate Barre. This is an ebook that I got in one of those stuff your Kindle moments where I get books for free and then I never read them. So let's read one. This is an urban fantasy. We have a lady who has a grimoire and she meets a werewolf. I'm going to assume she is magic in some way. We have a witch-werewolf romance. There's a library. Are you with me? This sounds fantastic. And yet, hadn't picked it up till now. So I'm going to read it and I think it's going to be fun.
Rule number 9, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, a green, a NetGalley book.
Next was Green. This is a NetGalley book. I currently have 3 books on my NetGalley list. A lot of them don't come out for a wee while, but I have a book that's coming out in July, which is The Intrigue by Silvia Moreno Garcia. If you've been here for a while, you will know I have loved Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have read every single novel that she has written. I have read a whole bunch of her short stories as well. Recently, I've kind of fallen out of love with her new books. They've just not really been working for me. But her earlier books, I love. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a return to me loving Silvia Moreno Garcia because Gods of Jade and Shadow is one of my favourite books. This Strange Way of Dying is one of the very few short story collections I have given 5 stars to. I'm hopeful. Please, I hope. This book sounds, again on paper, like something I'm gonna love. It is set in the 1940s. We have a con artist who romances women through the periodicals. He romances them through like Lonely Hearts columns. And he finds his newest victim and he shows up. She's got a niece and he sort of gets the niece on board and is like, you'll join me. But his victim is not the meek and mild woman that he thought she was. And she's a bit more savvy. And he's got his work cut out for him, and I don't know, maybe he won't be scamming this one, but I'm excited to find out what happens and hopefully to return to loving Silvia Moreno Garcia's books. I mean, I was going to say her writing. I love her writing. I just haven't really enjoyed the last 3 or 4 of her novels. We'll get back there.
And probably final roll number 10. 3. 1, 2, 3. That's pink. A spooky book. And not sure, there might be an 11. There is not. Oh, this is big.
And my final roll for my TBR game is a spooky book, which feels very, very on theme for summer because we have Summerween. I am going to be adding The Grief Nurse by Angie Spoto. This is a gothic horror, and there are these people called grief nurses who basically can negative emotions from people, and there's a wealthy family, they have a grief nurse, and so it means that they're just like la la la, all is great, they never feel any negativity, which I don't know, part of me is like, oh, but the negative makes you really value the positive, but I don't know, there's times where I'm like, I would love if someone could just go and I would never feel negativity. That would be nice. This rich family who have the grief nurse, so they must never feel human emotions of sadness. They suffer a tragic loss, and then there are more deaths. Deaths happen. Don't know what happens, but I'm really excited. It's not that long, and I really like the idea of like the concept of this book, but also I've heard it's quite like gothic-y, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. This is my TBR game, but we are not finished, my friends, because it's Summerween, and for anyone who doesn't know, Summerween is a sort of celebration of Halloween but in the summer. It's hosted by Gabby Reads, and it's delightful. It's just a week where we read books that are kind of vaguely Halloweeny. It is going to take place the week beginning the 3rd of July, and it's going to go right through to the 9th of July. There are 5 prompts, and I'm very confident that I can kind of fit my existing TBR on there. I actually can fulfill all of the prompts with just 2 books. Obviously, when the week comes, maybe I read more, but I have a base of 2 books that will get me through. Prompt 1 is to read a book in the dark or at night. Can be any book. Next is to read a horror or a thriller. I have Brainworms. This is a horror. 3rd is to read a new to me author. Again, hi, Alison Rumfitt. We've never met before. I hope I like your book. 4th is a book with pink on the cover. This does count, but so does Feeding the Monster by Anna Bogatskaya. This is a non-fiction book about basically why women love horror. And I would love to know. This also fulfills prompt 5, which is a book under 250 pages. It is just under 250 pages. So these 2 books are my Summerween TBR, but I might add more on. It just depends. What's happening life-wise the week of the 3rd to the 9th of July? I don't know. Who can say? So, bare minimum, I've got 2 books. I can read more, should I choose. This is my TBR. It's quite big. 11 books. One of them 1100 pages. But I am genuinely really excited about reading each and every one of these. I would love to know if you have read any of these books, or if you have done 75 books. Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!